Now let's talk about the tuples and the optionals. Now tuples can be found in many other languages, but optional is the feature that is being introduced in the Swift only, and it is one of the new features. Now what are the tuples? Now tuple is just a random collection. A very adequate tuple is really simply to say that it can have anything. It has got no indexing as such onto a hard level like in the dictionaries, or it is not as much strict like arrays. It can only have integers or like that. It is just really the awesome guy, you can say. It is really cool to have the tuples, and in fact just saying an example of the tuple you will understand how cool the tuple is. Now it says I have declared a constant, I have declared a string type of constant, this one hello, and a string and an integer type of constant. So notice I have got a random collection which is a tuple. Now how do I know it is a tuple? Now these pair of parentheses. Now put anything inside the pair of parentheses and it will say I accept everything. So you can see we have got an integer, a couple of them. Then we have got a string, a float values and all of that. In fact, let's make it a float value and not like that. So I can say 33.8 and it accepts that. No error at all. You can have constants, you can have variables, you can have integers, doubles, or whatever the data type you simply can think of, and that you can put in the tuples. Now, tuples are intentionally so much about these, you can put anything. Now, all of these things is intentional, and make sure, and in fact, you will never ever going to create any tuple. Yes, strange, but true. Because tuples are moreover created on the go. Notice the example in the last movie that we discussed. We wanted to have an iteration over the dictionary, and notice on the go we tried to have a variable like words and the digit. So really it is always being created on the go, and that is what it was meant for. And that's it. That's the whole movie about the tuples. Nothing extraordinary. Just create them, put anything, use anywhere. Just like that. But optionals on the other hand is a little bit different. It's not like that much easy. Now taking an example, let's say we want to build an app that calculate the football score. Now what it does when a user click get me the score, it goes on to the internet and then calculates some score and based on any website, JSON fields. Let's not go on to that functionality. We are simply saying it goes onto the internet, takes the score and come back. Now we are doing similar out here. Now notice I am declaring it var football score as an integer. Now forget this question mark for just right now. Now what we are saying is simple. We are saying that, let me also comment this just for the explanation purpose. Now we are saying that the current score of the game is, and this is. Now you could have said me that let's say there is some fault over the internet connection and we are not able to get over the internet. What will happen here is really simple. It will be not able to get the score. Now you could have said that I could have posted an initial value like 0, just like that, and now the score is 0. Now having a score 0, if I save that, having a score 0, now it's popping an error. Let me just get rid of these lines so that we can run our file. Okay, now good. Now it says current game score is 0. Now having a score 0 and having not able to get access to the score is two different things. Maybe there is some person who is betting on the game. He can be really get troubled with that, and really a lot of bad reviews can happen onto our app. So definitely putting a 0 as an initializer is not at all an option in this particular case. So what you would like to have now, Swift gives you an ability to say that somehow you can make this as an optional integer. Now notice it is known as the optional. That exclamation sign is different. This one is known as the optional. It simply says to you that I'm not sure that you will be able to get the value or not. If you'll not be getting any value, that means I'll just say it is nil. Now, of course, it's not the friendliest message in the world. And in fact, this is not being done most of the time. And in fact, what I would like to have in this case is usually kind of an if statement. And we are checking for that. And we say if simply just like football score is not equals to nil. And then we would like to have this one out here, just making it some separation. And else we can have a message that would be saying something like this. And let me just have this couple of lines, and we will be printing the message saying internet not available. Okay, that's it. Now, this is a good reason to have this, but a lot of time, let's just fake that and try to have a football value. And let's say the football score got updated from the internet and the current score for your favorite team might be a 3-0. So the current score is 3, but notice it says optional and it is not a feature of the playground. It will always say optional. Now, sometimes you are saying that, hey, I am pretty sure that there is always going to be a value. I'm taking the risk. Don't worry about it. So in those particular case, you can simply put an exclamation sign that is known as forced unwrapping. It says, don't worry about anything. I'll take care of everything. And I'm damn sure that there is definitely going to be a value. Okay, good so far. So in these particular case, you can have these kinds of things as an optional. Notice again, optionals are really, really important in the Swift. You cannot get rid of them. You cannot escape them. Okay. The next thing that you will be seeing sometimes is an optional binding. Now, how do I comment all of these? Press the command and the backslash. It just comments all the lines at a moment and it also sometimes disconnect them. But again, this should be commented. This was meant to be commented. Okay, so good so far. Now what you might be seeing strangely is this pattern. Now notice it says if let score is equals to football score. Now what we are doing here is an optional binding. It's quite common in the Swift and we do quite a lot. And it simply says that we are trying to have a value to a constant, and as soon as the constant will have a value, then only we will get a drop into the if block. Otherwise, we will hit the else block. So notice it works a little bit different, but technically it's the same. But again, just make sure whenever you see if and there is a let. Now again, the var will not work in this case. If I have a var, notice it doesn't really work. So you should always have an let. Now whenever you see if and let both combine, make sure that you understand, hey, this is an optional. And in case the value is being assigned to the score, that means we are going to drop into the if statement here and only in that particular case. Okay, it was quite an intensive movie about a lot of things. We did a lot of things, tried to understand a lot of things. But again, I would recommend you to go through and watch this movie again, because again, optional is important. You cannot skip them in the C, and designing even a single app without the optional is not at all possible in the Swift.